I did not just do that. You have got to be kidding me. So a little while ago, I made a video about kind of the traditional style of Amish and Mennonite cooking, where it's like loaded with carbs and fats and all things delicious, right? However, that is not my style of cooking, and today I wanted to show you guys a little bit more of the type of cooking that I do. Different of you were requesting it, so that is the plan. Now, I have some health issues where if I eat certain types of food, I do not feel well, it can trigger symptoms. And so for the majority of my diet, I try to stick to like a whole foods, a little bit more low carb diet, not always low carb, but I do feel the best on low carb. I love to keep my meals simple, so a lot of times the types of foods that I cook is just, I base everything around a meat, whether I like fry up fish, just add some seasoning, whether it's like baking chicken. I don't really add a whole lot of breading and whole kinds of extra stuff. I just tend to cook more whole foods. And so it's often like a meat, and then sometimes I'll do sweet potato, whether I eat it or not. More healthy sides as well, like salad, broccoli, green beans, or asparagus, something down that line. And that tends to kind of wrap up my meal, and then we don't really have desserts, unless it's like fruit or applesauce. And we usually do have ice cream around because my men love ice cream. However, in this video, I'm going to just be sharing a couple recipes that I personally love. They're just a little bit random. I have a soup recipe that I think is just amazing. You don't have to make it low carb, but if you are, trying to stay low carb, more healthy, you can cook it this way. Also, a quick recipe with fish tacos, the way I like to do them. Then I'm gonna add in a recipe for a cake that is on the low carb plan, but I will warn you, it takes an acquired taste. My husband and my son do not like it. I personally love it. It's one of my favorites when I want the feeling that I'm getting a little bit of dessert, but it's still healthy dessert. And then we're also going to go into more of like a chia seed pudding. So let's jump into it and I'll show you these recipes. I have always been like a big fan of like Olive Garden. I think they have like a Toscana soup if I'm correct. Anyway, the other week I had tried this soup and absolutely love it. It's like the low carb version. It's really easy, it's pretty quick, it tastes amazing. And most times this soup calls for potatoes, but you can substitute that with cauliflower or radishes if you want to stick to a low carb diet. I actually really liked it with the cauliflower. I think it's amazing. So let's get cooking. So in a large pot over medium-high heat, you're gonna brown 1 pound of mild Italian sausage and 6 slices of chopped bacon. And once the meat is no longer pink, you'll add 1 small onion that's been diced and 3 garlic cloves minced. Next step is drain the excess fat and add in 4 cups low sodium chicken broth, 4 cups of cauliflower. It doesn't matter if it is fresh or frozen. You have the option of doing half a teaspoon crushed red pepper flakes, which I usually leave out. And then we simmer on medium heat for 15 minutes or until the cauliflower is tender. Reduce the heat and stir in 1 cup of heavy whipping cream and add 2 cups fresh chopped kale. Stir and remove from heat. Serve in hot big bowls. You can top it with Parmesan or extra crispy bacon bits. And if you have leftovers, you can store it up to 4 days. This is honestly one of the best low carb soups I've ever had. You seriously need to try this. Amazing. Once again, as you've noticed, this is a high fat soup, as is most things with keto. I personally feel so much better when I'm on a low carb, high fat diet versus a high carb, low fat diet. I just feel so much better. I don't get bloated, and it has been amazing in pregnancy. As soon as I cheat and fall off plan and start eating carbs, I just feel that gross and that nasty. It's just terrible. I can cheat a little bit here and there, maybe have a toast or something, which I try not to do often because I'm trying to watch my weight. It's still creeping on more than I wish, but I just feel like the low carb keto lifestyle is amazing. Makes you feel amazing. And if I could just be strict enough to be consistent all the time instead of just like 85 to 90% of the time, I know I would definitely lose weight better. But once the baby comes, hopefully then, always tomorrow, right? So if you're anything like me, when you're trying to stick to a diet or a more healthy lifestyle, the hardest part is when you're on the go and on the fly and you want to quick grab things to eat. I tend to find it easier to make big wholesome meals that stay within plan for dinner, but then throughout the day, when I'm hungry want to quick grab something, I don't really have anything ready or prepped or anything in my head, that's when I fall off the bandwagon. And so one of the handy things for busy moms is Green Chef. So big thanks to Green Chef for sponsoring this part of the video and also helping a hungry mama out that's trying to stick to more of a keto style diet, because one of their options on their website is keto, which I love. They sent me 3 meals to choose from, and the first one that caught my eye was cheddar chicken with Creole Dijonnaise. Is that how you say it? It looks like Dijon mustard and mayonnaise together. So we're gonna whip this up. It looks amazing.
We have this, some peppers and all that. Stuff and the pepper here.
Green Chef is a CCOF, certified organic company that has options for every lifestyle: keto plus paleo, vegan, gluten-free, vegetarian, fast and fit, and Mediterranean. And as the only keto meal kit on the market, Green Chef makes eating carb conscious easy, which is one of my favorite things about Green Chef, as most of my diet revolves around low carb foods. Another one of my favorite things about Green Chef is how convenient and time saving it is to not have to meal plan, go grocery shopping, or do any major prep work, as they do that all for you week by week with a nice variety of meals from one week to another. So if Green Chef sounds amazing to you, I have a promo code just for you in the description. Go to greenchef.com and use the code MennoniteMom130 for up to $130 off plus free shipping on your first box. I just want to sample this really quickly. It looks amazing. And another thing, I'm just a big fan of like sauteed veggies. Give me pretty much any kind of sauteed veggies and I'm hooked. It's extremely good. It tastes super healthy, tastes very delicious, has a little bit of kick to it. And the really cool thing is I can eat my portion, and then even if there's some leftovers from this, but also the second portion that I didn't use, I can just put the leftovers in the fridge, because each packet is for 2 servings. So I have leftovers and a second meal that I can quickly grab when I'm in a hurry. And this did not take long to prep at all.
This one is like an egg mixture with all that in the box, and then we had to cook it 2 times.
Really?
This.
Okay.
And level 7. And here's what it looked like on the end.
Oh, okay. Let's try it.
Let's see how this thing works.
Yeah. Second day having Green Chef for lunch. Xander wanted to try this one. This is a turkey egg roll bowls. And it is also very, very tasty. As far as my favorites, I think so far my favorite is that chicken with the Dijonnaise or whatever. That was amazing, but this is definitely a close second. Xander even likes it. So once again, if you want to try out Green Chef, go to greenchef.com, put in the code MennoniteMom130 to get up to $130 off and free shipping on your first box. We do not have a lot of sweets and baked goods around, but if there is, I tend to try to cook more healthy baked goods. And there's one cake that I absolutely love that comes out of Trim Healthy Mama's cookbook. It's a low carb cake. I'm guessing it would be classified as keto. I use stevia in it. They call for some of their other sweeteners, which I don't use, like the erythritol, xylitol, that type of thing, because it's not easy on my stomach. And I've heard other people say the same. So I tend to substitute with stevia. I have a liquid stevia. I'll link it below. I absolutely love it. It's this New Naturals brand, and I think it's one of the best tasting stevias I've ever had. So first we're going to mix up the flour ingredients. So you take 1 cup coconut flour, half a cup of golden flax meal, half a cup unsweetened cocoa powder, and the recipe calls for 1/3 cup of super sweet blend, which is the Trim Healthy Mama style, but I just use stevia. I believe I used 2 teaspoons of liquid stevia, 2 teaspoons aluminum-free baking powder, and 2 teaspoons baking soda, and whisk that all together in a blender. And I love my Ninja blender. I'll have links below if you want to get one yourself. It's been my favorite blender I've ever owned. You want to blend 10 large eggs, half a cup extra virgin coconut oil, 1.5 15-ounce cans full fat coconut milk or light coconut milk, and 1 teaspoon vanilla extract. So once you have that blended, you just dump it into the flour mixture, combine it really well, and let the batter sit for 5 minutes. And then you want to spray 2 8-inch square baking pans with coconut oil spray, olive oil spray, whatever you have, and bake for 30 to 35 minutes at 350 degrees. One thing I wanted to say, some of these ingredients I know are more specialty ingredients. You usually don't have them around, but it's amazing. You can start finding most of these things even at like Walmart, Target. Some of these places are becoming much more popular. Like flax meal, coconut flour, almond flour are so much easier to find. You can also make an icing for this recipe, but I'm not going to. I'm going to be trying to make like a really good strawberry topping. My mom makes it a lot and I love it. Maybe the people that are used to real sugar items would find this an adjustment, but for me, I love this. Oh, this smells amazing in here. Smells so good. I can't wait to dig in, but I want to now try to make my like strawberry topping. I've never made it, but I've had a lot of my mom's. She's kind of like just guesses at her recipe, so I'm gonna kind of follow her guesses and hopefully it turns out right. First up, strawberries. And you can use frozen or fresh. I have quite a bit of frozen, so I thawed the frozen. She told me to mash about 3/4 a cup to a cup of strawberries, so we'll start with 3/4 a cup. I'm actually gonna try my immersion blender for this, get them a little bit more chopped up. Next up, we have 2 cups of almond milk, and my mom said to just sweeten it to taste, so once again, I'm going back to my trusty stevia. And then we also do, is it chia seeds? I believe that's how you say it, to kind of thicken it and give it thicker pudding-like texture. I did not just do that. You've got to be kidding me. Not today, of all days, did I just spill on the floor. I was just gonna taste it. Today was one of those days. Have you ever had one of those days or one of those weeks? I'm telling you, I'm having one right now. Let me see if I can just have a complete pregnancy meltdown on camera here. There is no longer 2 cups of almond milk and strawberries in my mixture. Lord have mercy. And the other hateful thing is getting up and down off the floor when you're 26 weeks pregnant. Boy, don't I look huge. These wide angle lenses really stretch you on the sides, so we'll just pretend that's why I look so big. Now back to taste testing. All right. I should probably put a little bit more almond milk in here because we lost some, and some strawberries. That's really good. I put about 1/2 teaspoon of that liquid stevia in this, and I like the amount of sweetness. I think it's pretty sweet, but not too sweet. I think that works. Now I'm just gonna mix this up and just let it sit until the chia seeds start to thicken it. So while that's setting up, last thing is just to make some sweet cream, like heavy whipping cream, a little bit of stevia, however much you want to taste. Then we'll mix that all through it, and this will be a good snack in the fridge just to go in and have a few bites or to put on top of your cake. See if I can keep from spilling this, but we'll see how this tastes. That is really good. Like I said, it wasn't the strawberry topping I was really thinking of for on top of my cake, but it will go well with the cake. So I'm gonna have some right now. And then this is going to go in the fridge, and I'll have it as a little bit of a snack here and there when I'm getting peckish. It doesn't look like the most appetizing in a picture, but it is super good, especially if you're more on my style of the diet, where you're not used to all the cakes and the pies. Because this does not taste like your chocolate cake you'll buy at a store or you'll make. But if you're on sort of a keto, low carb, or trim healthy mama type of diet and want a more healthy style cake that has the feeling of a baked good cake and sweet, I really, really like this cake. I'm curious if you try it out. If you like it, let me know in the comments. The pudding is good with the cake, but I would probably prefer just fresh fruit chopped up on top of the cake, and the pudding as a side or as just a snack in itself, because the pudding is also very good, but I do prefer like fresh blueberries or fresh strawberries on top of the cake with a little bit of almond milk. So good. Let's just see what Xander has to say. Nolan wasn't too impressed, but let's see what Xander has to say. He did the second one for dramatic effect, but he had tried it earlier. It was a no-go. It's another evening, and tonight I'm gonna make fish tacos. Super easy, and it's a recipe we really love. Now with fish tacos, obviously you're using some type of taco. I like to use the low carb wraps you can get them from Walmart. I get mine from Aldi. It kind of passes for a cheat on keto or on Trim Healthy Mama. I don't think you should eat too many of them. I'm in a pretty big hurry tonight, so we're just gonna do like a side of applesauce. I've got tons of applesauce. So first off, I'm gonna take 1 medium red onion and slice it thinly. And then pour about 3/4 a cup of red wine vinegar over the onions and let it sit to marinate. Then I'll combine 1/3 cup of olive oil, 1/2 teaspoon chili powder, 2 teaspoons oregano, 3/4 teaspoon cumin, 1 teaspoon dried cilantro, and I'll mix that all together. Then you have about 2 pounds flaky white fish fillets, which I am using our halibut that we caught in Alaska. And we pour the oil combination over the fish, and we're gonna let it sit and marinate for about 20 minutes. To cook the fish, I heat a non-skillet over medium heat, and then take the fish from the marinade, lay it in a single layer in the skillet, sprinkle with salt, and I fry the fish, turning it once for a total of 6 to 7 minutes or until it flakes with a fork. I personally like to fry up some of the red onions with the fish. I kind of like the red onions fried, and plus it gives the fish good flavor, but there's still some back here marinating. And then to assemble the tacos, you place a heaping spoonful of fish in the center of the tortilla, add the onions, sour cream, salsa, and guacamole, and it serves about 10. If you like it.
Mmm!
Is it good?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Mm-hmm. I know these recipes are a little bit random, and maybe some of you aren't actually on this type of diet. For me personally anyway, I just feel so much better when I eliminate carbs, or at least very low amounts of carbs. And I have really noticed it with this pregnancy. The second I cheat, and it often happens on weekends, I feel so gross and so nasty. I get really bloated, and I just feel like I have expanded by a couple weeks. And everything, like I just really noticed it this past weekend. I did not eat so well, and it just felt like everything was up in my ribs. I was extremely uncomfortable. And when I just stick to low carb and eating like I should, I feel so much better. I feel so much lighter, even though I'm expanding to ginormous proportions, it feels like. When you see this video, I will be in my 3rd trimester. So we are on the countdown, ladies. But yeah, some of you have been wanting to see my style of cooking, and so there you have it. If you want to see more videos like this, let me know in the comments. I hope you all have a blessed day, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye! And I'm sorry if I have stuff on my face. I haven't even really looked. I'm aghast at how many times I just video and then I realize I have terrible dandruff or super chapped lips, which I often do, and I try to lotion and use lapstick all the time. Chapstick! I'm getting so sidetracked, which shows how awful my brain has been this week on bunny trails. So this week, I decided it is time to get on top of my life and be a more scheduled person, and I've been trying block scheduling. I've been trying to get up every morning at 6 o'clock, because if you've watched some of my other videos, you know that I tend to not get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, because I hate mornings. Anyway, so I have been faithfully getting up at 6. I've been so proud of myself, and I had a list of all the things I wanted to do this week, and I probably overscheduled myself, but this week, with one of our businesses, I had tons of people to meet and engagements and things, and I just feel like the entire week my brain is about ready to snap with all the messages and phone calls and people, and it's been great, it's been wonderful, but my brain is just scattered in so many different ways, and I'm trying to get this video done, which is great. This is like the fun part for me, is videos. And I was finally feeling good because it's Friday, all my engagements are done, and I can just focus on baking and making some of this food and finishing up this video, and at least part of it. And now I just did that. So not to complain, but just in case you sometimes feel like you're all alone in your struggles, this week I have snapped at my son way too often. His energy levels, it's just one of the reminders in life that I cannot let my stress levels get too high, and I need to cut out. I did not plan for this week to be this busy. It just kind of happened, and that's just how life happens. And the stress of everything, I confess I have yelled at my son and all his antics and it just seems like the more stressed I became, the worse it felt. Like when he was doing all his things and bouncing off walls and hitting his toes and hitting his head and knocking over chairs and knocking over vases, and you know how little boys are. I'm not sure how little girls are, but we're gonna find out here soon. So it's been one of those weeks where I just feel like I haven't been the best of parents. I haven't been the best of a wife. And my brain is going to snap, and my pregnancy hormones are going to take over, and yeah, so here we are. I have this stupid mess to clean up, and then we'll get back to whatever I'm making. I have the house to myself, which I actually love. I just need some me time desperately right now, like quiet, just me and my thoughts, whatever thoughts are left from this whole spaghetti train that ended up in here this week. But anyway, so me and my thoughts better get to cleaning this up.